Good afternoon, my name is Priscilla, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how smartphones can possibly cause cancer. So, in today's world, the cell phone use has gone up tremendously since cell phones were first introduced in the US in the 1990s. Since then, the amount of cell phone usage has increased dramatically, and the amount of hours spent on a cell phone has also increased, as those two go hand in hand with each other. Can cell phones end up affecting human health? With this, as you spend the screen time spent on the phone can end up causing eye strain, ocular pain, which is pain to the eyes, damage to the cornea, and then of course sore neck muscles and possibly a headache. And this is because you're constantly looking down at your phone at the screen for long periods of time. Can cell phones give off radiation? Cell phones do contain a type of radiation called radio frequency waves, also abbreviated as RF. Cell phones do transmit these kinds of waves and this kind of energy. Notice these waves are non-ionizing, meaning they are not strong enough to ionize another atom or molecule. This kind of energy is found within the antenna of the phone, which is also found within the cell phone. So it's not like your old-time phone where you have the antenna and you visibly see it. These radio frequency waves, again, are not strong enough to cause any changes in the genetic material such as DNA. How are humans exposed to these radio frequency waves? To begin with, the cell phone usage is a big issue. Today, many people spend an extensive amount of time on their cell phones. So the longer you are on your phone, the more waves are being produced, and the longer you are exposing your body to this type of radiation. Also, being far away from cell phone towers is another factor to exposure, just simply because when cell phones lose signal, they tend to work harder to gain signal from the cell phone tower, meaning as they are working harder, they're producing more of those radio frequency waves, and again exposing the body to those waves. Phone traffic is another factor. Generally, just as an example, on weekends there tend to be more users online, or making the cell phone work a lot slower, meaning it has to produce more of that radio frequency energy, and then again exposing the body to that radiation. So how do we know how much radiation the body is absorbing from the cell phones? So there's a specific as you could say, word for this. It's called the specific absorption rate, and this measures the total amount of radio frequency waves that are being produced or transmitted. And it is also called the SAR, which the SAR varies on the type of phone being used, the model of the phone, and the amount of phone usage. So with that being said, the longer the phone is being used, the more radio frequency waves are being absorbed into the body. And of course, with the amount of the specific absorption rate can change due to the factors of exposure that we talked about previously. So is there scientific proof that cell phones can cause cancer? It is said that there are certain types of tumors that can be caused from phones. One of the main concerns is that cell phones can end up producing brain tumors. Now, there's no scientific proof on that. There are many types of experiments being conducted on to see more or less if cell phones really are a factor contributing to cancer itself. So some of the tumors that are said to be caused by cell phone use are malignant brain tumors, which are your cancerous tumors. You have non-cancerous tumors of the nerve connecting the brain to the ear, and non-cancerous tumors to the salivary glands. And it has also been said that cell phones can be linked to testicular cancer and skin cancer as well. So two of the main types of experiments that are being conducted as we speak are called lab studies and people studies. Now, your lab studies are going to be on like your lab rats, possibly a dish of cells, and then of course your people studies. That's a little bit more self-explanatory as far as conducting experiments on people. So, like I was saying, that your lab tests are going to be on rats and mice. With these kinds of experiments, they expose the rats to the radio frequency waves, and then they observe them for any changes that resemble the changes in a cancer cell. Another type of lab study that is performed is called is when they take normal human cells and place them in a lab dish and then expose those cells to the radiation, and then they end up comparing those cells to the cancer cells. And the second kind of study is a people study, and with this they tend to take two different groups of people. One of the groups of people have pre-existing cancer, whereas the other group of people are completely healthy and do not have any form of cancer. The group of people with cancer are generally exposed to this radiation, and with an existing experiment, they have noticed that the people with cancer being exposed to the radiation have actually shown their tumors growing as with the exposure of radiation. Another study with people has been with like actual cell phone usage. With that, it has been discovered that when people have the phone actually held up to their ear, the brain tends to have differences from each side. So the side that you have the phone held up against your ear actually ends up showing that the brain is producing more glucose in that area than compared to the other region of the brain. And the reason for that is unknown. It's still under questioning. And like I said, these are the two main kinds of studies that are going on. So some of the preventative factors as far as cell phone usage and possibly developing any kind of health hazard would be try using headphones instead of directly placing the phone to the ear. This would minimize any kind of radiation exposure to that region of the body. Also, spending less time on your cell phone, that is a big issue. The more, like we said, the more time you spend on the phone, the more of that radiation the body is absorbing. And then it's probably harder for this one, but you want to try to stay within range of your service tower, just because the farther away you are from that cell phone tower, the harder your phone has to work, and meaning it's going to end up producing those radio frequency waves at a higher rate. And that is all for today. So in conclusion, there is really no yes or no answer to whether or not cell phones can cause cancer. It's still an ongoing. It's still a question that is, under the spotlight. Just like any other cancer, there is no reasoning as to why it's being caused, what's causing it, what are the factors that are causing it. All we can do is just take the precautions and follow the preventative factors. So with cell phones, just try to minimize your time spent on those phones to again lower the absorption rate of that radiation. I thank you for your time, and I really hope you learned something from this presentation. Thank you.